Good evening, everyone. My name is Jilikita, and I am saying ER models in a database. And there are some contents. Number one is introduction to ER models. Two, why we use ER diagrams in DBMS. And three is symbols used in ER model. And four is components of ER diagram. And introduction to ER models. The entity relation model is a model for identifying entities to be represented in the database and representation of who those entities are related. The ER model specifies enterprise schema that represents the overall logical structure of a database graphically. The entity relationship diagrams explains the relation among the entities present in the database. ER models are used to model real-world objects like a person, car, or a company, and the relation between real-world objects. The ER diagram is the structural format of the database. ER model stands for the entity relation model is a high-level data model. This model is used to define the data elements and relationship for the specified system. And the next topic is why we use ER diagrams in DBMS. ER diagrams are used to represent ER model in a database, which makes them easy to convert into relations. ER diagram provide the purpose of real-world modeling of objects, which makes them intently usefully. ER diagrams require no technical knowledge and no hardware support. It gives a standard solution for visualizing the data logically. ER, ER diagram gives a better understanding of the information to be stored in a database. It helps describe elements using entity relation models. It allows user to get a preview or logical structure of the database. And next topic is symbols used in ER models. These are the symbols used in ER models. And the next topic is components of ER diagram. ER model are divided into three types: entity, attribute, relationship. Entity is a one type, weak entity. Attributes are divided into four types: key, composite, multi-valued, derived. And relationship is divided into four parts: one to one to many to one, many to many. And an ER model consists of one entity. And the next topic is what is entity. In database management system, an entity is a piece of data that is stored in the database. An entity can be a person, place, thing, or even an event. There are two types of entities in a database management system: strong and weak. The strong entity. A strong entity in an independent table that does not rely on any other tables for its existence. A primary key uniquely identifies each row in the table, and foreign key are used to relate this table to other tables. Null values are not allowed in the primary key columns. Weak entity. A weak entity type is a dependent table that relies on another table for existence. It has no meaningful attributes and it is won't accept for the foreign key from the parent table. And this is the table, and this is the example of entity. Employees entity name, and ID is primary key attribute, and ename, salary, department is non-primary key attribute. And the next topic is attributes. Attributes are divided into three types. Here there are two attributes: key attribute and composite attribute. What is key attribute? Key attribute are used uniquely identifying each row in a table. Usually there is more than one key attribute in a table. For example, in the table of employees, the employee ID would be primary key, while manager ID would be a foreign key. Key attributes are those that uniquely identifying a database entity. In a student database, for example, the roll number can be key property that uniquely identifies each student. Composite attribute. The composite attribute are made up of two or more simple attributes. For example, a person's address may be composite attribute that is made up of person, street address, city, state, and zip code. Composite attributes can be used to create more complex data models and the helpful when trying to represent data in a coherent way. An attribute that can be split into components is composite attribute. And the another attribute is derived attribute. Derived attributes are based on the other attributes and are not stored directly in database. For example, consider a database of employees. Each employee has date of birth and we might calculate their age. However, age is derived attribute because it can be determined from the date of birth. For example, the age of student can be derived attribute because we can get it by date of birth of the student. An attribute that can derive from other attributes is derived attributes. Example, total and average marks of student. And this is the example for attributes. And next topic is how to draw ER diagrams. First, identify the entities. Embedded all the entities in a rectangle and label them properly. Identifying relationships between entities and connect them using a diamond in the middle. Illustrating the relationship. Do not connect relationship with each other. Connect attributes for entities and label them properly. Make sure your ER diagram supports all the data provided to design the database. Effectively use colors to highlight key areas in your diagrams. And thank you so much.